It's a specialty reaction show with you, ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Alex Strouf hanging out with you from the Gerber Law Offices. One call, that's all, studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Jason Wilde will join me momentarily. Rob Demovsky will join me at 6:30 tonight. And Rich Eisen will join us at 6:45 to break this one down. But joining me now is, this is the fourth time I've talked to him today. The three-time Wisconsin sports writer here. Small day, not much has happened. He's the co-host of Wilde and Tausch, Channel 3000.com, senior writer, I believe he's corrected me now. No longer an insider, senior writer. Jason Wilde joins me now. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Strouf. How are you?
I feel like I'm living in some type of euphoria, to be real honest with you, Jason.
You don't feel like you are. You clearly are.
Yeah, it's legitimately ridiculous what has happened. We're getting a little bit of feedback. Sorry, Jason. We've talked about it all week, right? I mean, it's the rumors were floated by the tweeting dog, Pretty Ricky, earlier in the week. And he has come back, and, you know, when he tweets things, typically you think, okay, maybe they might happen. Okay, he's usually got a pretty good pulse on things in the National Football League. But it still seemed far-fetched because, and I've read a bunch of statistics today, there has never been a player in NFL history who has been selected to a Pro Bowl the first 4 years of his career and played his fifth season somewhere else. It's never happened before. It will happen in this case. As Micah Parsons officially, as the Green Bay Packers have even announced it, he is officially a Green Bay Packer. There are so many levels of unbelievable that this trade lands in. We've talked a lot about Brian Gutekunst. He's never really taken that big swing, despite attempting to, and as you've mentioned several times today in 2018 with Khalil Mack, but he's never really taken that big swing. He's taken some swings that have paid off. I think Zadarius Smith is a really good example of that. Obviously, Jordan Love is seemingly one of those big swings that's going to pay off ultimately. He has never taken a swing to this magnitude, and it seems not only did he win the trade, he has brought in a complete field tilter and a complete dominator on his defensive line, which was the Packers' worst positional group last year. So I'm completely blown away. And by the way, it's August 28th. Like, who makes this level of a trade on August 28th? So there's so many levels of ridiculous that this falls into. So yes, I'm living in a little bit of euphoria. Very long way to answer your question.
So I just did Jim, Matt, and Molly with Jesse and Molly on ESPN Madison because they're obviously getting ready with Wisconsin College Game Day. And the excitement in Ryan Wollersheim's voice, like his voice was like cracking when he called me because he was so excited to talk about this. Like that's what being a fan is all about, right? Like this is to listen to you and to listen to him. I'm not, I told Jesse and Molly this. I'm not jealous. Like I love what I do. I don't feel what you feel. I'm like, hey, this is a really big Blanken story. And there is undeniably an adrenaline rush of going back on KBN, going on Homer, going on Jim, Matt, and Molly, doing this. I'm going to join Gabe Neitzel, Mr. National, coming up on the national side. I'm going to do some Sirius XM stuff for the more. Like all these people are really excited. I've been on TV twice already tonight. I have a 10 o'clock hit to do. I also have to go pick Sid up from volleyball. Like, we all have priorities. Yeah. But it's the euphoria that you're feeling. I've got an adrenaline rush. This is an incredible story. And I still, I think you were the one that said it to me first. Goody's answer to my question yesterday was very un-Goody-like. Mm-hmm. And now that hits a lot different, especially in light of reports from Ian Rappaport, and I'm sure others, I just haven't seen it, that this deal has basically been done for 2 days. And that it was just getting the contract with Micah Parsons in place. So kudos to Goody, because Tausch should not play sheep's head with him. Because he's got a pretty good poker face.
Very good poker face. Despite the fact, as we talked about this morning on Weekly Wilde, which you can throw about 7 minutes of the 31 we spent together out the window. Well, not totally, because you spent some good time saying, hey, it seems actually pretty realistic all of a sudden. But the way he spoke at his press conference, which just so perfectly lined up the day after those rumors came out, after cutdown day, the way he spoke about, we look into every opportunity, which he said before, just hit a little bit different. It just didn't sound like Brian Gutekunst, the Brian Gutekunst we've come to know, now entering his 8th season at the helm of the Green Bay Packers. It's truly incredible. It's truly ridiculous. And it wasn't a tell, because he's got a damn good poker face. But it made, you used the term earlier, it made your antennas pop up. Me and Brad Nortman felt the same way when we heard it for the first time yesterday on Kyle Brust Nortman. Unreal.
Yeah, look, this is a seismic move. And I want to rewind to something that it's hard for me to remember. And I feel like I've got a pretty good memory, but I do appear somewhere Tausch is saying thank you for your service on a lot of our shows. So I don't remember where I said it. If this was a Where's Wilde, I would get it wrong. But one of the things that I did say when this started to come to light, maybe Joshy DiMaggio remembers, maybe it was on Jen Game and Chewy, but you've got a new team president. He was very clear with us that he was not going to sign the coach or the GM to an extension. He was also very clear that he doesn't want lame ducks.
Yes.
So if you go 10-7 this year, you don't win the division, you lose your first-round playoff game, maybe that gets you another year, right, added onto your contract so you're not in a lame duck year. But sooner or later, going 10-7, 9-8, 11-6, losing in the first round of the playoffs in Titletown, sooner or later you're getting fired. So if you're going to get fired, take the swing.
Bingo.
Swing for the fences. And if you strike out and this turns out to be a mistake, at least you went down swinging. As opposed to crossing your fingers and hoping that you catch lightning in a bottle, and like the 2010 team did, which was a damn good football team. But remember, it had to win its last 2 games to even get into the playoffs. It needed Deshaun Jackson's punt return for the Eagles, right? For them to win that game to keep the Packers alive. And then obviously they were awesome. Their defense was awesome. Rodgers was awesome. Like, they were phenomenal in the postseason. That can happen. But you'd much rather have super high wattage star power, and you just added that. Because now you have a stud I was telling this to Homer and Bulaga, I think you have a stud at every level of your defense. You got Micah Parsons, who, by the way, immediately makes Rashawn Gary better, immediately makes LVN better, immediately makes Devontae Wyatt better. You got a stud up front. Mm-hmm. You've got what I called a stud in training at linebacker in Edgerrin Cooper. He's not a stud yet. He hasn't been to 3 Pro Bowl or 3 All-Pros and 4 Pro Bowls like Micah Parsons, but he's on his way.
Right. Super encouraging.
He shows signs. He's a baby stud.
Sure.
And then you've got Xavier McKinney, who is a stud. And I was just talking to McKinney today. And I wish I would have, after we were done, I wish I would have said something to him about, hey, what do you think? Off the record, do you think you're going to get your guy? I would have liked to have known what he would have said. Because I know he told Rob Domofsky yesterday he wasn't going to talk about it, which maybe that's because he can't keep a secret and he's as bad as me. But the fact of the matter is that you have all those type of, I'm not going to say gold jacket players, but trending toward gold jacket players that you have to know where they are. And now suddenly you have a defense that has 3 of those guys that you have to know where they are at all times. And this is going to lift the tide of all the other boats at the same time.
Yeah, there's a million parts of this I want to get into with you before you depart us around 6:30, Jason. But I want to go back to something you said at the beginning of that. And that was ed policy, the new president. I think the heat was turned up a little bit on his seat. I'm not saying his seat was hot. His seat was warm. Brian Gutekunst, that is. But I think there was all of a sudden a little bit more pressure for him to win, especially for a guy who, let's remember, at the end of the season back in January when the Packers lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, Brian Gutekunst said it as plainly as anybody could. The expectation is we should start competing for championships. He believes this team, sans Micah Parsons, is good enough to compete for a championship. But he did his part today by making the biggest move he could in his tenure as the Packers general manager. This is bigger than the 2020 draft pick of Jordan Love. It's as big of a move as he could have made. He put all the chips in the middle of the table and said, hey, that counts for me too. It is time to compete for championships. He went out and got, debatably and maybe not even debatably, the best young defensive player in the National Football League and made him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. This is Brian Gutekunst doing his part. But I think the fact that there was a presidential change in the organization maybe turned up the heat just enough to where Goody said, ooh, I can start cooking now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I definitely don't think there was some sort of edict. I saw some, and maybe there is. If the Green Bay Packers traded for Micah Parsons, who are we to say that anything? There's no way that happened. But I don't think that Ed Policy went to them and said, look, you need to make this trade so we can win a title. But I think to your point, it's a good one that it let those guys know that, hey, we're going to be out on our keisters regardless if we don't do what it takes to win a Super Bowl, and we keep treading water as a wild card team. Now, I would add this, and you know, I like to joke about this, but it's absolutely true. And I love Tausch and what we get to do every day, and the camaraderie and the connectivity we have is special. But he is a Goody guy. And even though I'm not a Goody hater, which I think even Goody would tell you I'm not that, he makes me look like one by comparison, right? The level of criticism that I give Goody is not overly high. But by comparison, it appears to be, is what I would argue. And my point that I made after he said, after the Eagles loss, 5 days after the Eagles loss, we have to ramp up our urgency. It's time we start competing for championships. My critique of that, if you remember, was that's great that that's the message to your team. You got to send that message to yourself, too. And what has he done? He drafted a wide receiver in the first round for the first time in 23 years, saying, look, we got a bunch of good guys. We don't have a number one stud. Mm-hmm. Now we got one. And now he's traded for Micah Parsons. That is him walking the walk and not just talking the talk. He has now delivered on urgency. So that, to me, is just as important as anything else here. You can't. I have always respected him. He and I came up on this. He came up on the scouting side, and I came up on the media side. We're almost the same age, and we've been doing this for roughly the same amount of time. He and I have always gotten along great. We haven't always seen eye to eye. I still think he was wrong on Jordy Nelson and wrong on Devontae Adams. But
all
on
is
this,
forgiven now on my end, man. All is forgiven.
Well, why don't you wait till he wins a Super Bowl? But my point is that this is a bold thing to do. And if he had just put it on his existing players and said, hey, I did my part.
Yeah.
Right? I signed a couple free agents, drafted these guys. These guys should be good enough. The coach and these players are the ones who have to ratchet up their urgency. I would have said it after the season when they went 10-7 again. If that was what happened, hey, Goody, where was your urgency? Well, that will not be occurring. This season, they may not win the Super Bowl this year, but I will not be saying, hey, Goody, where was your urgency in 2024?
Damn straight. That is the great Jason Wilde. I'm Alex Strouf with you on our special Micah Parsons is a Packer coverage. That's what I'm going to dub it. I just want to remind you of a couple things. Jason's going to hang with us for one more segment. After that, Rob Demovsky from ESPN will join us at 6:45 The great Rich Eisen will join me as we break down this thing from a national perspective. We will be with you on the radio side, 94.5 ESPN, until 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, we're going to YouTube only, and I will hang there until 3 a.m. if we want to. I am so happy and excited about this Packers team, and probably a little bit irrational, but that's okay. At least I can admit it. So we're going to do this as long as we want to tonight. Jason, hang with us. We reconnect with Jason Wilde coming up next. I'm Alex Strouf. It's our special Micah Parsons is a Packer party on ESPN Milwaukee.
Breaking news on ESPN Milwaukee. Micah Parsons has been traded to the Packers. Stay up to date with the news right here. 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
It's ESPN Milwaukee's Brad Nortman here with some exciting news from my friends at Bank 5-9. Not only have they been named a top workplace for 16 straight years, but they've just won the prestigious Community Choice Award as the best bank in the Milwaukee area. Honestly, I'm not surprised. Not only do they have great products and services, but they truly live out their mission to make lives better. If you're looking for a true local community bank, check out the best. Visit bank59.com to learn more today. Member FDIC.
At Tony Wendorf & Associates First Weber Group, we do more than close deals. We serve with gratitude and faith-filled purpose. We've sold over $300 million in real estate since 2020, one of the top-ranked real estate teams in Wisconsin, and we're just getting started. What sets us apart? We care. Even if we're not your agent, we'll still help. That's the kind of stewardship the community deserves. If you're buying or selling across southeastern Wisconsin, let us earn your trust. I'm Tony Wendorf, and I want to create your red carpet experience. Contact us at wendorfteam.firstweber.com. At Tony Wendorf & Associates First Weber Group, we do more than close deals. We serve with gratitude and faith-filled purpose. We've sold over $300 million in real estate since 2020, one of the top-ranked real estate teams in Wisconsin, and we're just getting started. What sets us apart? We care. Even if we're not your agent, we'll still help. That's the kind of stewardship the community deserves. If you're buying or selling across southeastern Wisconsin, let us earn your trust. I'm Tony Wendorf, and I want to create your red carpet experience. Contact us at wendorfteam.firstweber.com.
Hope begins with opportunity. Transformation begins with support. And at Curative Care, children and adults with disabilities or limiting conditions discover what it means to truly thrive. For over 100 years, Curative Care has offered proven services that empower individuals, helping children, adults, and families celebrate milestones once thought impossible through rehabilitation, care coordination, and supported employment. To support Curative or to discover the difference Curative Care can make for you or your family, visit curative.org today. Curative Care, dedicated to helping people thrive.
Home and auto insurance is getting more expensive these days. Here's Jeff Salazinski, VP of Insurance Operations at R&R Insurance.
Thank you, Vince. Multiple years of inflation are making this homeowners and auto insurance market difficult for buyers. In today's market, buyers need options. Agents that can only provide a quote from one company cannot create competition for you that brings you the best price. Secondly, these same agents and their one company option are passing along huge price increases this year. Your path to a better price is through creating competition. R&R Insurance works with over 20 A-rated insurance companies. Don't settle for just one quote.
So, Jeff, what's the solution?
With 48 years of stability, local family ownership, and deep industry knowledge, R&R Insurance will be focused on you and will build a strategy to make sure your family has the right protection and a competitive price. At R&R Insurance, we know home and auto insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected. Also, you forgot to renew your website domain, and now you're in a bidding war.
You should see the look on your face.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in the break room, and now everything smells weird.
All right.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Plus free premium delivery with any smart bed and adjustable base. Ends Labor Day. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Breaking Packers news on ESPN Milwaukee. The Packers have acquired Micah Parsons. Stay up to date with the news right here. 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Yeah, the Micah Parsons is a Packer party. 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. I'm Alex Strouf alongside our good friend Jason Wilde from Wilde and Tausch. So I'm thinking in the break, Jason. I mean, look, I'm going to state the obvious to begin what I'm going to say next. This is a move that says, hey, we got to win the Super Bowl in the next 3 years. Or multiple Super Bowls in the next 3 years, because they just threw pretty much everything out the window come 2029, 2030. From a cap space perspective, you have one of the highest paid quarterbacks and the highest paid non-quarterback on your roster now. You don't have first-round draft picks for the next 2 years. I don't want to call it Super Bowl or bust, because I think that's almost unfair, but I will say in the next 2 or 3 years, it's probably Super Bowl or bust, right?
Yes. You have to win a Super Bowl after making this trade.
Getting there
Period.
Is getting there not enough? If they got there and lost in this hypothetical?
Yes, of course it's enough. I mean, it's because any given Sunday, right, including Super Bowl Sunday. But this is you make this trade not to make an NFC Championship game. You make this trade to win the whole blanking thing. And look, that's a reasonable thing to expect. I don't. Football's crazy, right? Like, did the 2010 Packers, were they the best team in the league?
No, they weren't.
They were the best team in the postseason, though.
They sure were.
But when and I'll never forget going to Atlanta. That was back when I traveled to every single thing. And I've never seen a losing locker room brimming with more confidence. Atlanta was going to be the number 1 seed. They got beat in Atlanta, and they were like, hey, if we come back here again, we're going to beat these guys. And not only did they come back there and beat those guys, they ran them out of their own gym. And so the expectation here is Super Bowl. But there's plenty of teams that have made blockbuster trades, and it didn't pay off to that degree. Now, I'm not saying that's the case here. I'm just saying that should be the expectation.
Yeah, I think so too.
And if it comes up short of that, then there'll be reasons for it, but it'll be if they don't make the Super Bowl this year now, it's way more disappointing than if they didn't make the Super Bowl with the hand that they'd been dealt already, 3 hours ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree with all of that. I'm just curious on your perspective on that. All right, one final thing, because I think this is going to take us a couple minutes before we get you out of here, because I know you've probably got 800 more things to do tonight, including picking up your daughter at some point. Don't forget about that.
I will not.
The part that goes out, right? Micah Parsons is obviously electric. He comes in. I mean, he's the favorite, and at least he was prior to the trade. He was the betting favorite in Vegas to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. What goes out is 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. And I think as a Packers fan, I say thank you, Kenny. Seriously, he was a terrific player for them, one of the best first-round picks of the last decade plus for them. But where they were at with him contractually, A, and B, it's real with Goody. He's 30 or turning 30. This was likely his last season in Green Bay. So to dump the contract and make that farewell maybe even a little bit easier to ship him out, I think this was. I don't want to call it a masterclass, but it was really well done by Goody.
Yeah, let's call it like it is here. I don't want to use this word again, but you heard me use it with you on KBN. Did they fleece him?
Yeah, they did. They did.
2 first-round picks are a lot. But again, if you are making this trade, you are expecting those first-round picks to be at the bottom of the first round.
Number 32,
maybe not
preferably.
the very bottom.
Yeah, number 32.
Maybe 30 because you lost the NFC Championship game, or maybe 31 because you lost the Super Bowl.
That'd be better.
You'd love it to be 32 because you won the Super Bowl. But you got 2 bottom of the draft first-round picks and a guy that you probably, as much as I love Kenny Clark because he's one of the all-time great dudes, won our Mully Award multiple times, and a guy you probably were going to move on from after the season anyway. I will say this: I got a lot of grief on Tuesday when Evan Cohen proposed a trade that was like 2 1s, a 2, and a 5, and a player. And I said, I'm doing it because I believe in this move. Because I do believe that you need to do this because you're going to get fired either way. You might as well get fired because you shot your shot and you missed. But what they paid for him, now they're obviously paying him a king's ransom in terms of money. Like crazy money. Like Reggie White, 4 years, $17 million. I think he's going to make that in like the first half of the first game. It's a lot.
Well, the league,
but in terms of the price tag,
yeah.
but in terms of the price tag of what you gave up, I don't have any problem with that.
Agreed.
Blank them picks.
Totally. This is way better than 2 first-round picks. I hate to say it like that because maybe you pick a. I don't want to call Micah Parsons a Hall of Famer yet. It's way too early in his career to call him that. Mm-hmm. But the trajectory he is on, clearly that is a gold jacket would be in his future if he can continue at the pace he's been on the first 4 years of his career. It would be really, really hard to pick 2 guys that equal this. So blank them picks. And all due respect, I mean, again, I can't state how great Kenny Clark was for the Packers. He was a great player for them in some years. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have Micah Parsons at 26 years old. Time and time again.
Right.
I'll pick that every single time.
Right. And again, that's not I don't think that's a dig on Kenny Clark. He's, a 3-time Pro Bowler?
Yeah.
He still hasn't had his 30th birthday yet. But he does turn 30 in October 4th. So good thing Goody got him off the roster before then.
He was close enough, so he's got to go.
But Goody believes what he believes. There's no doubt about that. And he believes it's a young man's game. And let's go back to the beginning of all of this. Pretty Ricky and apparently a breast augmentation surgeon or something. I guess I missed him. I had a few people on Twitter telling me I wasn't giving him proper credit.
I don't know what
I'm not
the hell
familiar
you're
with his work.
to.
Yeah, apparently I don't know if he's the Reddit guy or somebody else.
Oh, okay, sure.
But let's go back to then, okay? And let's think about what we talked about. The one thing you heard immediately from Tausch, from me, from anyone is this guy is different. He's not TJ Watt. He's not Trey Hendrickson because he hasn't turned 30. And if there was one reason to think that this would never happen, it's because you cannot believe that an organization, even one dysfunctional, even one that is more interested in how many people watch the documentary on Netflix than it is in winning, mm-hmm. You can't believe anybody would trade a guy of this talent away. You just can't. At age 26.
Yeah.
You can see trading TJ Watt as great as he is. You can see trading Trey Hendrickson. You can even see, because I think Myles Garrett's, 29?
Yep.
You can see that because you think potentially, most likely, their best football is behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Not this guy. This is what Goody believes in. I want guys whose best football is in front of them. Well, I'll tell you this. If Micah Parsons' best football is still ahead of him, with 3 All-Pro selections and 4 Pro Bowl selections in his first 4 seasons, imagine how good he's going to be. If that's not even him at his best.
Thanks for the excitement. I appreciate that. That's a good parting gift for you. Jason Wilde, hear him tomorrow beginning at 9 a.m. on Wilde and Tausch. Thanks, Jason.
All right, Strouf, enjoy the rest of the night. Try to peel yourself off the ceiling, okay?
No. Yeah, that won't be happening tonight and probably won't be happening until week 4. So I'll be stuck in the ceiling.
I hope people still watch Weekly Wilde.
Yeah, well,
we worked very hard on that.
23 of the 31 minutes still pretty good. About 8 or 9 of them probably got to shed them. All right, that's Jason Wilde. Sure. Rob Demovsky from ESPN. I haven't talked to Rob in a couple of months. I'm really excited to talk to Rob about what is a ginormous trade. Rob Demovsky will join us next. We're going to hit a quick break. Right after this, Rob Demovsky on the Micah Parsons is a Packer party on ESPN Wisconsin.
Breaking news on ESPN Milwaukee. Micah Parsons has been traded to the Packers. Stay up to date with the news right here. 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
For the first time, you can stream all of ESPN all in one place. And guys, it's changed the game for me personally. All the best live sports, the most championship moments, studio shows, documentaries, and originals, too many to even name them all. Plus, all these great new features, like watching 4 games at once in multi-view, your fantasy team updates live in-game, Sports Center customized just for you. They thought of everything to make this the ultimate destination for fans. You gotta check it out. Sign up for the all-new ESPN app, like right now.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Hard work and sustained success are core values of the culture both on and off the field at Catholic Memorial. Whether you're an individual or a business in need of tax and accounting services, D&M Accounting is ready to work hard with you and for you to help achieve long-term success. For over 25 years, D&M Accounting has proudly served countless personal and business clients, providing expert guidance in business consulting, tax planning, bookkeeping, financial statement audits, and payroll services. President and owner Jason Jendrak is a proud supporter of Catholic Memorial. Learn more at dmaccounting.com.
It's Jason Wilde from Wilde & Tausch. Upgrade your industrial supply services with Lakeland Supply, your trusted ISO certified partner for custom packaging, shipping supplies, janitorial, and safety supply solutions. With over 40 years of industry excellence, Lakeland Supply is a proven one-stop source with over 95% of their products made in the U.S. And they treat their customers like family. Personalized service with a national reach. That's what Lakeland Supply does. Visit LakelandSupply.com to discover how they can make your business better.
Grand slams and walk-offs. If you haven't jumped on the bandwagon by now, what are you waiting for? Siding Unlimited is Milwaukee's very own national champions. That's right, Siding Unlimited installs windows, and we do it really well, earning the prestigious Pella Platinum Premier National Certified Contractor of the Year award 5 times. New windows? Our expert team will deliver on a smooth, hassle-free installation, making you feel proud of calling Siding Unlimited for your window project. What's the next step? Call 262-567-4513 or go to sidingunlimited.com.
For your next night out, revel in the fusion of artistry and flavor with Sushi at St. Kate, offering guests an elevated experience where freshness and creativity converge in every bite. St. Kate the Arts Hotel introduces an exciting new sushi menu to its culinary repertoire. Indulge in the finest seafood, freshest ingredients, and expert craftsmanship for an inspired and delectable dining journey. Experience the art of sushi at St. Kate and learn more at stkatearts.com.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here, and the Pickler Menominee Falls is now open. Your home for pickleball. 9 premium indoor courts with unlimited play, leagues, tournaments, and clinics all included in your membership. Sign up today for open play spots or check out Learn to Play sessions and clinics. Members get 4 clinics a month included. Memberships start at just $119 a month. Check out all the options at thepickler.com. That's PICKLR.com. And I'll see you on the court.
Breaking Packers news on ESPN Milwaukee. The Packers have acquired Micah Parsons. Stay up to date with the news right here. 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
All right, I've dubbed this the Micah Parsons is a Packer party, but it's also the first time I get to talk to Rob Domofsky in a few months from ESPN, obviously ESPN's Packers reporter, who does a great job. By the way, and you can download the all-new ESPN app, and you can get like a TikTok version of Ben Domofsky, which is Rob's alter ego. So Rob Domofsky, Alex Strouf with you. Rob, good to see you, buddy. I'm sure it's been a really quiet day for you.
Yeah, it's been something. Packers actually just made an announcement here. They have agreed to terms on a trade with the Cowboys. Wow, great big news. Maybe I should get on this.
Yeah, maybe. I just want to give you the floor, man. I mean, it was rumored. I know you and Jason both asked Goody about it yesterday, and me and Jason talked about it. I wonder if you had the same takeaway. he didn't speak like normal Brian Gutekunst. Like he talked in a way where he did. We'll always look into every opportunity. But he kind of said a few things where I went, maybe this is more of a possibility than I realized, and voila, here we are. So, Rob Domofsky, your reaction to the whole shebang.
So this is interesting. Maybe it's meaningless, but at about 11:45 today, shortly after practice ended, I was in Matt LaFleur's office because I had a previously scheduled one-on-one with him. And then about a half hour after that, I had Brian Gutekunst for a one-on-one. And, I mean, of course, I had to ask about this. And, you know, I got an indication that if something was going to happen, it was going to happen quickly. But I wasn't 100% sure that it was going to happen. And again, none of this was on the record with them. It was just, you know, I think the first thing LaFleur said to me was, let me think how he said it. I hadn't even sat down in his office, and he goes, "So I guess you want to know about Micah Parsons?" And I said, "Well, I don't suppose you're going to tell me anything." And he just said, "Nope, I'm not." So,
at least he's honest.
I mean, it's you know, Goody was awfully relaxed for, you know, having his phone rang one time when I was in there with him, and it was one of the trainers asking about a physical that they had just given to a practice squad guy. So it wasn't even Russ Ball or an agent or anything like that. So I was kind of like, oh, if they're going to get a deal done, doesn't seem like it's imminent based on him sitting there talking to me. And again, this was a previously scheduled one-on-one that, I had requested for season preview type stuff and some stories that I'm working on. And typically LaFleur and Goody will do that, this week every year. And so that's sort of where it went. I was actually driving home from the stadium when Schefter's alert came out. But so like last night I went to bed thinking, they're going to trade for him. Then after sitting with those guys today, I thought, well, I don't know if it's going to happen today. And sure enough, it did.
I asked Jason this, and I'm curious on your thoughts because you guys are two of, if not the two most plugged into this team. Ed Policy is the new president.
Yeah.
He said earlier this offseason, I don't want lame duck years. Each of these guys have 2 years left in their contract, and Brian Gutekunst to Matt LaFleur. Do you think a comment like that turned up the heat just a little bit to where Goody said, all right, I said it. He said it in January. Brian Gutekunst did. It's time we start competing for championships. This is a move that clearly indicates, he stands by that comment. But do you think the presidential CEO change, the leadership change this?
I don't think you can discount that, Alex. I also don't think you can discount the fact that Ed Policy maybe encouraged this kind of thing.
Sure.
Perhaps maybe more than Mark Murphy did. I'm not saying that Mark Murphy didn't allow them to do the kind of things that they want to do, because I think he did. But did he encourage them to do so? And I think there's a nuance there. But I think it's a little different when you have, maybe a younger guy in charge that, and I like to say Ed's younger because he's about my age. A nice young guy in charge, maybe willing to be a little bit more aggressive, right? And I mean, my story that I had written actually last night, this is probably too inside baseball. People care about how this stuff works, but at ESPN, and I'm sure at a lot of outlets, when things look like they may happen, we start writing so that we can have something posted right away.
Yeah.
And so I started writing what we call reaction stories. There's the news story that has the nuts and bolts, and then there's more of a reaction. Well, my reaction story, and it just posted, I believe, not that long ago on ESPN.com, but it was the lead of the story was, let me see if I can call it up real quick. The lead of the story was drafting a receiver in the first round, trading multiple first-round picks for Micah Parsons. Who's running the personnel department, and what happened to General Manager Brian Gutekunst?
Amazing,
right?
That's so good.
It's sort of like there's a line from, I think it's the movie. Someone that knows this movie is gonna have to tell me the name of it. I can't remember the name of the movie, but there's a line. How did you get in here? And the guy goes, "I'm a locksmith, and I'm a locksmith." So, who are you, and how did you get in here? I'm a locksmith, and I'm a locksmith. So, I don't know what happened to Goody. Going back to your original question, but clearly, there was a philosophical change. Maybe it was his own, statement on January 16th, I believe it was, when he said it's time we start competing for championships, right? But yeah, we've got a different guy or different mentality, at least since that last 8 months.
So best case scenario, Jeff Hafley is a head coach next year, right? I mean, that's well, best case scenario is they win the Super Bowl and he's a head coach. But I guess for this defense alone,
I'm sure Jeff Hafley's, just kind of doing this and getting ready to get his hands dirty and see what he can do with this guy, right? DeMarcus Covington, the new D-line coach, I can tell you this. The players have raved about him. Lucas Van Ness, for probably the most of any player, has raved about his new D-line coach. And, you can say what you want about Lucas Van Ness's production, but, I think he is or was, maybe still is, poised to have, a better year because he feels really good about that. But, you start to think about it now. I mean, Rashawn Gary got a lot of chips and double teams, right? So this could help him just as much. I mean, I'm sure I haven't studied Micah Parsons' tape, play after play, but I'm willing to bet he gets a lot of extra attention and is so good that he can beat it. Now Rashawn Gary, who, maybe wasn't as good at beating double teams, doesn't get double teamed as much anymore.
Yeah. Who fills the hole left by Kenny Clark? Is that a Carl Brooks or a Colby Wooden?
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at their you sort of look at the depth chart, they kept an extra guy. They kept 6 interior linemen.
Right.
They normally keep 5. Well, I shouldn't say normally because the defensive scheme has changed. But a year ago, they kept 11 between the D-line ends and interior, and it was 6 edges and 5 D tackles. This year, it was 6 D tackles and 5 edge rushers. Now, obviously, that has flipped again. But, the depth chart is Devontae Wyatt and then, probably Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, Nazir Stackhouse, and Warren Brinson, maybe in that order. Maybe Brinson and Stackhouse are flipped, but the 2 rookies, could they play Lucas Van Ness inside some? Possibly. Maybe only in third down, third and long stuff where you can get Gary Van Ness and Micah Parsons on the field. But, I mean, of all the guys from a size standpoint on the D-line, Lucas Van Ness probably best equipped to go from outside to inside.
We seeing you on SportsCenter tonight, Rob?
Yeah. Well, you have to stay up late.
I'll be up late.
I'm looking at my schedule. The 1 o'clock SportsCenter, that might be 1 Eastern. We deal in Eastern time at ESPN, and it drives me crazy because I always ask, are we talking Eastern time or Central time? But I will be on the 1 a.m. Eastern time SportsCenter. I can give you a little hint. It will not be live at 1 a.m. I will not be up at 1 a.m. And then tomorrow, I have Get Up at 8:15 Central time, live from the stadium, and a full day of TV from there. We haven't heard from the Packers yet to see if we're going to get any availability tomorrow, but I'll either way, I'll be at the stadium doing, cable television magic or mediocre cable television.
I'm sure your teammate Todd Archer's all over this, but Jerry Jones is currently at the podium. So,
I talked to Archer on the way. I mean, I've talked to him about 800 times in the last 72 hours. Yeah. But yeah, he called. Last time I talked to him, he was on his way over to the Star. So maybe we should tune in and see what Jerry has to say.
Report back and see if there's anything. But I will be up because the Badgers play a football game at 8 o'clock. So I'll be watching on the Midnight Sports Center, Midnight Central, I hope that is, at least. And not midnight Hawaii time. But nonetheless, Rob, appreciate the time as always, buddy. We're looking forward to getting you back in the mix next week. And I'll talk to you next Sunday on Green Bay Game Day, all right?
Sounds good, Alex. Looking forward to it.
The great Rob Domofsky has you covered on this trade and a whole lot more. ESPN.com. You just heard him. SportsCenter tonight at midnight after the Badger game if you're watching that. And then Get Up tomorrow, and he'll be with us back next week on all of our shows across ESPN Milwaukee. So looking forward to talking with Rob next week. All right, we are going to continue Micah Parsons coverage. I believe Rich Eisen will be joining us sometime soon. It sounds like he may be joining us next hour in the 7 o'clock hour on YouTube exclusive, but there are over 500 with you rocking with us on ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. So if not, I've got a ton of thoughts. We will get through my thoughts, and then we will kick you out on the radio side to Catholic Memorial Football. Coming up next, appreciative of Rob Domofsky and Jason Wilde for joining me. Tony Cartagena, Rich Eisen, apparently, in the 7 o'clock hour on YouTube. So we've got a ton more to come. Let's go. The Micah Parsons is a Packer party continues right after this.
Breaking news on ESPN Milwaukee. Micah Parsons has been traded to the Packers. Stay up to date with the news right here. 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Hey, this is Mike from Infinity Exteriors. Buying a roof, siding, or windows can feel overwhelming. Hidden costs, confusing contracts. We don't play that game. We educate you so you can decide. And when you know the facts, Infinity Exteriors is the clear choice. Since 1997, we've installed peace of mind with no surprise upcharges, flexible budgets, and immediate financing. Infinity Exteriors, saving our communities from unscrupulous contractors. Visit infinityexteriors.com.
Steinhoffel's biggest Labor Day sale ever is happening now. Save 10% off store-wide or use Steinhoffel's 60-month 0% financing and get $50 instant cash back for every $4.99 you spend. Plus, buy a premium mattress and get free premier delivery on your entire order. And get amazing doorbusters like a Sealy mattress for only $199. Sofas starting at just $299. Shop Steinhoffel's Labor Day sale in-store or online at steinhoffels.com.
Need new windows? Consider this. Windows from Home Shield are 2,000% more airtight than average windows. That's right, 2,000%. Most windows warp as the weather changes, leading to gaps, leaks, and drafts. But Home Shield windows are made with special weatherproof composite materials that won't warp or leak ever. It's just one reason Home Shield windows are 2,000% more airtight. For draft-proof windows, call 262-784-4460 or visit homeshield.com.
Ready to move? Looking for a new location for your business? Urchel Real Estate Group provides comprehensive legal counsel and full brokerage services for all types of real estate transactions. Located in New Berlin, they serve many surrounding areas of southeastern Wisconsin. Urchel Real Estate Group can assist with residential, commercial, vacant land transactions, and more. They are here to help find what you are looking for. From kickoff to closing, your home field advantage starts with Urchel Real Estate. Call 262-456-3700 or visit urchelrealestate.com.
Need immediate orthopedic care? Visit Ortho ASAP, the walk-in orthopedic clinic by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. With on-site MRI and X-ray, get immediate access to specialty care for sprains, strains, sports, and work injuries. OAW has convenient hours, including nights and weekends, at their Brookfield and Pewaukee locations. For more information, visit orthowisconsin.com. Ortho ASAP, because life doesn't wait for appointments.
Home and auto insurance is getting more expensive these days. Here's Jeff Salazinski, VP of Insurance Operations at R&R Insurance.
Thank you, Vince. Multiple years of inflation are making this homeowners and auto insurance market difficult for buyers. In today's market, buyers need options. Agents that can only provide a quote from one company cannot create competition for you that brings you the best price. Secondly, these same agents and their one company option are passing along huge price increases this year. Your path to a better price is through creating competition. R&R Insurance works with over 20 A-rated insurance companies. Don't settle for just one quote.
So, Jeff, what's the solution?
With 48 years of stability, local family ownership, and deep industry knowledge, R&R Insurance will be focused on you and will build a strategy to make sure your family has the right protection and a competitive price. At R&R Insurance, we know home and auto insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
Are you sick and tired of sad, skimpy, frozen pizzas that lack toppings and flavor? Problem solved. Screamin' Sicilian brings the party to pizza with mountains of whole milk mozzarella, premium meats, and veggies stacked to the sky. No tweaks necessary. Just tons of toppings and amazing flavor. Just bake it, bite it, and let it rip. Mamma mia! Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's freezer section. Screamin' Sicilian. Toppings piled high, screaming loud, always delicious.
Breaking Packers news on ESPN Milwaukee. The Packers have acquired Micah Parsons. Stay up to date with the news right here. 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
in about 10 minutes on YouTube. So get over to YouTube, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Rich Eisen will join us at 7 o'clock. The Rich Eisen Show comes to ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Wisconsin, ESPN Radio, starting Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday after Labor Day. Really looking forward to his national perspective. Tony Cartagena's here now. He's going to join me until we end the Micah Parsons Packers is a Packer party. But I want to read a few things from Jerry Jones, who's currently at the podium in Dallas. Because let's just put it this way, Tony.
I want to read something before you read what Jerry Jones, because he's a businessman. Jerry's going to put the business spin on this whole deal. However, what I just saw is a tweet that says, Nico Harrison is the worst GM in sports. He's the guy who traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers, Dallas Mavericks. And then it says, Jerry Jones, hold my beer. Why? Because Jerry got robbed.
Jerry got robbed.
I mean, that's pretty simple. That's the biggest. I think that's the biggest takeaway from Packers fans everywhere. Because Strouf, and correct me if I'm wrong, leading up to the big news, your show, Mr. Irrelevant, KBN, every day this week, Wilde and Tausch even got in the mix on what are you willing to give up?
Yeah, just about anything. And it was a lot less than I expected.
No, but I'm saying everyone, the packages fans who have no insight on anything put together were much, much larger than 2 first-round picks and a guy.
Yeah, it was a lot less than I expected. And Kenny Clark, again, was a guy that I think was going to be released at the end of the season. So
I don't care if he was going to be around for the next 4 years.
Right.
Adios.
Yeah, right. I mean, thanks for everything you did, but goodbye. And welcome to Green Bay, Micah. 2 first-round picks. We just said it to Rob Domofsky. Those 2 guys would never equate to what Micah Parsons and the potential he brings. So this is all positive. It's an ultimate swing by Goody, and I'll give you the opportunity to apologize to Brian Gutekunst in the 7 o'clock hour. You owe him an apology.
I don't owe him an apology. I owe him a pat on the back and a good job. I'm not apologizing for anything.
We'll get to it in the 7 o'clock hour.
Don't get me started. Today's a day of celebration.
7 o'clock hour. All right, Jerry Jones, quote, I really like Micah. I appreciate the 4 years we had him.
Stop. Just read it. Just read it like a normal human being would read this so we can process it together.
He's a great player. No question. I could have signed him in April. This was by design. I did make Micah an offer, and it wasn't acceptable, and I honored the fact that it wasn't done how we wanted, through an agent. That's what Jerry Jones sounded like, I would assume. Stephen Jones also on the podium, by the way. So he really likes Mike. He thanks him. It takes many players to win in the NFL, says Jerry Jones. You do have to allocate your resources, draft picks, or finances. There was no question in our mind that Micah could bring us a lot of resources in a trade. As it turns out, all the publicity about not having a contract, you did your part in making sure it was known that he was potentially available, and I appreciate that. I don't know who he's talking to.
Are we going to have audio of this? Because, Strouf, there's one you might actually have to read in your accent. I'm going to read it, and then you're going to repeat after me in your Jerry Jones accent. This is real. This is from Adam Schefter. Those draft picks could get us top Pro Bowl players.
Those draft picks could get us top Pro Bowl players.
Micah Parsons is on the road to Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's correct.
Those draft picks could get us top Pro Bowl players. They very well could. They're not going to get you Micah Parsons.
No, they're not. Because Micah Parsons typically isn't around at pick 30, 31, 32, et cetera. So,
They lucked into him at, 12 or 13, wherever they ended up getting him?
12.
But wherever you're picking, let's just say, because it's from the Packers, 20 or below is the expectation.
Correct.
Easily 25 or below. You're not going to get a Micah Parsons for that, and it just is what it is. Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, it's... I mean, just like every Packers fan who's with us, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube, as Rich Eisen will join us in about 5 minutes. If you're with us for a few more minutes on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, if you're a Packers fan, you're having the same emotion we all are, which is a little bit of euphoria, a bit of confusion, and total elation, because this doesn't feel real. This type of trade, A, barely happens, if ever, in the National Football League, and then B, doesn't happen on August 28th. You don't see this happen now. I read this statistic earlier in the day. For those of you just joining us, there has been 29 players in NFL history, 29, that have gone to the Pro Bowl in the first 4 years of their career. All 4 first years of their career. 29 players ever. Micah Parsons is one of them. 28 of those 29 played the 5th year of their career on the same team they were with for the first 4 years. The only one who won't is Micah Parsons. That's what happened today. Micah Parsons is a 3-time All-Pro. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He has played 4 years in the NFL, and 3 times he has been a finalist for the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He has had double-digit sacks in every year of his career, something Rashawn Gary, who the Packers pay as a premium pass rusher, has never done.
I'm so excited for him, by the way, this year.
Rashawn, yeah, it'll open a lot
I'd
up.
even be willing to say I'm excited for Lucas Van Ness.
I am too. Now, and I wanted to ask Rob this, but we had to get out on time. I'm curious how they will utilize the three of them, because Lucas Van Ness is somebody they want on the field. And I understand.
Great, but if you
much
only
rather
want
have
him on
Micah
the field
Parsons
on third down, awesome.
Right.
Right?
And obviously you'd much rather have Micah Parsons on the field, but I'm curious as to how they utilize a guy like Lucas Van Ness this year. I think it's good for him. I think it's good for Rashawn Gary. I think it's good for the guys in the interior.
It's good for Bo Melton. That's how good it is.
Yeah.
Here's why. He's a cornerback now, not the wide receiver Bo Melton, cornerback Bo Melton. Having a guy that can rush the passer, not even to get home every single time, even though, like Strouf said, he does it double digits just about by waking up in the morning. Having a guy that can disrupt that offensive backfield, force quarterbacks to move outside the pocket, force quarterbacks under pressure to force throws and to run a little bit helps everyone. It's going to help the linebackers, and it's really going to help that defensive back room. That is one massive question mark, right? Mm-hmm. If they only have to defend for 4.5 to 6 seconds versus like 30 that they had to last year, that's going to help them a ton. The trickle-down effect here is like adding a superstar NBA player to your roster. Everyone is going to benefit, including the offense.
Yeah. It just catapulted the Packers into championship contention immediately, which I think they were probably already in the conversation of, but not to the level they are now.
No, they are now. That's all that matters.
They're viewed as probably a top 4 team in the NFL, maybe 5.
You could say top 7. They weren't there before 4 hours ago.
Agree to disagree, but regardless, I mean, they are certainly in the conversation. All right, Catholic Memorial Football is coming up next on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. We will continue with you momentarily on YouTube. Rich Eisen going to join us next, and I can't wait to ask him about how the fact that Jerry Jones just brought up the Herschel Walker trade when he talked about Micah Parsons. Talk to Rich Eisen about it coming up next on YouTube. Catholic Memorial Football now on ESPN Milwaukee.
Untethered, unfiltered, and unbothered.
I'm talking about Subarus. Anybody in the Subaru driving down Fond du Lac or Capitol, wow. I'm like, you are not where you need to be driving that slow.
Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, presented by Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL, and sponsored by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It is always a Subaru.
And they likely have a lot of bumper stickers.
Weekdays from 2 to 5, right here on 94.5 ESPN. And subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. Even when you think you know what's going on, you can never be too sure.
What's the matter with my camera?
Can you straighten up?
You are in the bottommost corner.
Hold on.
There's nothing wrong with what he's doing.
Packers, nonsense, chaos.
Hey,
I didn't come to work to get yelled at today.
Any
Damn
day,
it.
No,
any day Chewy shows up on any camera,
better?
not sideways, it's a win.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN, and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. With Wilde and Tausch, you won't miss a play.
Goody was ahead of the curve. He deserves a ton of credit. He went out and got a backup quarterback last year, and now you're seeing a bunch of teams doing this.
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
He was the trendsetter last year to go out and get Malik Willis and then have him play at the level that he did. If a team called them today with a third-round pick offer for Malik Willis, I think you're right. They're saying no.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
With 18 unforgettable holes on 250 acres of natural private land, the Bog provides the ultimate golf experience. To book your next tee time, call 262-284-7075 or visit golfthebog.com. Enjoy golf. Enjoy the Bog.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from KBN. Tune in to Kyle Bruston Nortman every day from 2 to 5, WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Live under the lights and on the field.
All right, we roll on. The Micah Parsons is a Packer party. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. That's Tony Cartagena. I'm Alex Strouf with you. Rich Eisen, ESPN's newest edition, coming to ESPN Radio, ESPN Milwaukee on Tuesday, is going to join us momentarily. Just awaiting him. And we will get rolling because, I mean, this is an unbelievable day for the Green Bay Packers as they acquire defensive end Micah Parsons, 2 first-round picks, and an aging Kenny Clark.
You can just say Kenny Clark. They traded one of their defensive linemen, one of their top defensive linemen, to bring in arguably the best defensive player in the NFL. You can throw some other names out there, but whatever it is, he's a top 5 defensive player in the NFL. That goes without saying. He's 26 years old. The Packers are going to pay him a lot of money. Don't care. The Packers gave up 2 first-round picks to get him. Don't care. Yep. Today is a day for Packer fans to absolutely celebrate that Goody took a Barry Bonds home run swing in the bottom of the 9th, if we're being honest.
Oh, yeah. It's August 28th.
Goody just got a new boss.
Week 1 is in a week.
He's preaching urgency, and he goes and does this. And, Strouf, I brought you a prop for today's show.
I like that.
I like to come prepared. I brought you a prop. I'm going to pull it out of my bag here. I'm going to toss it in your direction. You can show it to the camera. You can't have it, but I wanted you to have it for today's show.
Reggie White.
It's a Reggie White jersey.
Can I wear it?
Absolutely you can wear it. And here's why I brought that prop today. He may not be Reggie White. Reggie White's one of the greatest defensive players of all time. But this is the 2025 version of the Reggie White moment. This is the 2025 version of Charles Woodson. 2025 version of getting Clay Matthews and that panning out. Like this is the move that the Green Bay Packers make to get themselves from fringe contender into undoubtedly into the conversation of Super Bowl contender. And now, 100% have to get to the NFC Championship game? Great. They're in a position where there's pressure. This is awesome. This is so much fun. Goody, I talk bad about you a lot.
Oh, here we go.
A lot. I think you're terrible at drafting in the first round. I think you've done a lot of boneheaded moves. I pretty much disagree with almost everything you've ever done as general manager of the Packers. But good job, sir.
Yeah.
Good job. And here's why. Here's been my biggest issue with Goody his entire tenure. His ego is bigger than Alex Strouf's, and that's big. And I feel like he was always one step away but never wanted to admit when he was wrong. It was always, we really like our room here. We really like this guy. And they were all because he drafted those people. They realized their defensive line wasn't great, and they realized how much better it could get with one swing for the fence. And all it took was a draft pick you probably would have used on Jordan Morgan 2.0 or Lucas Van Ness 3.5, whatever that is. And they went and got a future potential Hall of Famer. And it's amazing. For all of the things we've said about Goody on these airwaves over the years, plural, you made an incredible move today. You put your chips on the table. You ran with, this is great. This is absolutely an outstanding day for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said because I think it's so important in the context of this trade. I think we like Rashawn Gary, and I actually like him a little bit more right now than I did 4 hours ago.
Now.
Yeah, I like him a lot more than I did a couple hours ago. But I think he's a good football player. I think he catches a bad rap. I think obviously you'd like to see a little bit more production from the sack side of things, right? He's never had a double-digit sack season.
But he gets home a lot. He creates pressure. He's there.
He's good enough. But I prior to 4 o'clock this afternoon or whenever that 3 hours ago, whenever the trade came through, you didn't have a field tilter or a game wrecker at every level. And I think truly, as a Packers fan, we can now feel comfortable.
You got 2 on defense.
No, I think we have 3. I think we have 1 at every level.
Who's
Edgerrin Cooper would be my linebacker nomination, and I'll steal from Jason Wilde what he said about an hour ago. He's kind of like a baby stud, right? He's still got a lot left to prove, but he won NFC Defensive Player of the Week twice in his rookie season. Packers never done that.
No,
as a rookie,
that's great. But even if you take him out of the mix and you have a certified star of, let's use field tilting here, because that's when the Packers have had success in winning championships. They've had field tilting players, right? Under Brett Favre or with Brett Favre, they had Reggie White, they had Leroy Butler, 2 Hall of Famers. Mm-hmm. In 2010, they had Clay Matthews rushing the passer. They had Charles Woodson on the back end, 2 Hall of Famers. Now they're going to have Micah Parsons, Xavier McKinney, both in the prime of their career. I want to say X is probably like 27. Parsons is 26 years old. They are both absolutely field tilting players. Edgerrin Cooper, great. If he's your third best defensive player, I feel great about that.
Yeah.
I think Rashawn Gary, just back to your point there, is a very, very good defensive edge rusher at the second position. Now he gets to line up across. He's not going to see a double team. Imagine if you chose to double, it's just not going to happen. Now he can do what he does best, and that is be really good at what you do, but not great, because greatness is across from him. Mm-hmm. And that is the way to build a championship contending team. That's how you take a team, if you're the Packers, from B- to B+, A- territory. That's what they did today.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard to vocalize and verbalize how much better the Packers defense got today.
It's not hard to vocalize. Because you're great at it.
But I think they were already a pretty good defense. Now, the pass rush is one thing, right? They struggled to get home last year, despite being, I think they were number 8 or something in sacks last year.
Yeah, but those stats were so inflated because of 2 games.
2 games. The Titans game, and I forget which, maybe the Texans game, they had, I think, 7 or 8 sacks in them. So I think it was 15 sacks of their 48 or whatever it was in 2 games.
It was a large percentage in 2 or 3 games of the year, yeah. Against good teams in the playoffs, they did not get home.
Right. And now you add a consistent double-digit sack guy to your defensive line. And obviously, as you mentioned, that opens things up hopefully for Rashawn Gary, Bo Melton, to your point, right? Like everybody.
That's what I'm saying. It just helps everybody.
It helps everybody on every level.
Everyone be a little bit better.
And I really do think they were already a good defense. It's year 2 of a system. You expect some guys naturally to improve. And I specifically point to the guys that are going into year 2, right? The Evan Williams, the Javon Bullards,
there's all going to benefit.
Yeah, obviously the Edgerrin Coopers. So I'm very happy.
Levi says on the YouTube talking text that Strouf looks great wearing the Reggie White jersey.
Thank you, Levi and Stevens Point. Yeah,
that's a Stevens Point person.
That's my Stevens Point
guy. I take
guy.
it back. That's just all y'all got each other's backs.
That's true. Yeah. But Levi, I appreciate that. Thank you, Tony, for letting me don this.
I just think it's necessary today. I wish I could have found him a Charles Woodson.
I had one. I got to be honest. I think my ex-girlfriend has it.
Your Charles Woodson jersey?
Yeah, I had one for years and years. I won it at the Brown County Fair.
So it's fake.
100%. It's printed. It's like this. It's not ordered. Stitched.
This is a Mercari purchase. Got it for like $20.
Nice.
I got all my Packers stuff on secondhand sites. But Micah Parsons jersey
might need to go to the pro shop for that.
Soon.
Yeah, I might need to go to the pro shop for that. I wonder what number he's going to wear. Complete side note.
No, do you know what we got to take bets on? What he has to give Jaden Reed for 11.
Isn't it too late? I think it's too late to change jersey numbers.
It's too late if you're a second-string defensive back. If you're Micah Parsons, you get whatever you want. Here's what they have to do. This is an actual rule. Jaden Reed is going to have to say he's going to change his number, and then he has to actually buy back all of the jerseys from the pro shop that are in stock. And then I'm pretty sure Micah Parsons making $47 million a year. He's able to foot that bill for Jaden, and then he offers Jaden, I'd probably say 30 to 40 grand to a charity, and he'll get 11.
Jaden Reed wore 1 in college, but that has not been worn by a Packer since Curly Lambeau, so that seems unlikely. Although I don't think it's technically retired.
It's not in part of the dealio.
So yeah, I don't know what they would do there. It'd be a fascinating sight. But Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer, and that's a sentence I'm going to say a lot the next.
Why don't you sound excited? Have you only been? Is it because you've been on the air for like 17 hours?
No, I am excited. It's just like it's finally says. Like the 5 stages of grief, which I'm not going through. I think I've reached this is the 5 stages of excitement. Right? It was complete elation. It was euphoria. It was probably like tempered excitement. And now I think I'm actually at acceptance. We're 3 hours in, and I can't believe it's actually a fact. I am excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm very, very excited.
I've seen you more excited about cucumbers in the office than you are about Micah.
I wasn't
Take
excited.
a deep breath and just realize your Green Bay Packers, outside of your green and gold goggles, are now officially Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I always believed it. And now, the biggest question for me is no longer, okay, what can the defense do? It's now how good can Jordan Love be? And I think, and again, I don't want to lose sight of the offensive side of things, because I think it's important to acknowledge the Packers' offense upgraded this offseason. They upgraded their offensive line by bringing in Aaron Banks and moving Elton Jenkins to center. That's 2 possessions on the offensive line I think you upgraded at. Maybe it's a wash at left guard, but you definitely upgraded at center. Left tackle, they had a hard battle. I think it's going to be Rasheed Walker again, but he's proven serviceable at left tackle. So offensive line, I think you upgraded there. Wide receiver, I think you upgraded. You add Matthew Golden, that's all you did, and Savion Williams, I guess. McCole Hardman on the practice squad. But Matthew Golden, the day he was drafted 4 months and 4 days ago, became your number 1 wide receiver.
He's got to prove it still.
Agreed, but what he has flashed and what he has shown in the offseason, the preseason, I think is enough to say, yeah, he's different than everybody else. Again, I agree. You got to see it in the games that matter, but to see the catch he made in the third preseason game on Saturday, to see what he's been able to do in the preseason, the joint practices, there's clearly something different about him. That you would agree with.
100%. And I think your thing is like, so you and I aren't going to agree like the offense is better or whatever. Like the offensive line to me seems like a hot mess. The wide receiver depth is a huge question mark. Yep. There are a lot of things, but all of the criticisms, all of the, well, are they, a year away from this? All of that ends today. Because right now, the messaging from whether it's policy to Goody to Hey LaFleur, here's the deal. We are all in. There are no more excuses. There are no more we're a year away. There is nothing outside of it is time for the Green Bay Packers to go out and get to the NFC Championship game, to win the NFC North for the first time in seeming like 1,000 years. I'm so sick of the Lions. And go and get it. It is time to go and get it, and it's all there. And if they don't, there are going to be repercussions.
I must add, the Lions are still very much a contender.
Yeah.
But I always thought, if the Packers can start hot, they're going to win the division. And obviously, week one is a terrific opportunity.
I'm no longer worried about starting 0-2.
Yeah, I agree. All right, that's Tony Cartagena. I'm Alex Strouf with you here on the Micah Parsons is a Packer party on ESPN Milwaukee. And it's exciting to welcome somebody to Milwaukee like 5 days early who is going to be bringing the Rich Eisen Show to ESPN Milwaukee each and every weekday beginning Tuesday from 12 to 2 p.m. It is the great Rich Eisen joining us now on the Micah Parsons is a Packer party. Hi, Rich. Thanks so much for the time. Welcome to Milwaukee.
Thanks for the invitation to the Packer party.
You're very welcome. I didn't bring the pizza yet. I'm going to get that after we're off the air.
Yeah. Okay.
But
cheese curds?
I was just going to say, how can you invite him to our Packers party, welcome him to our state, and not say, like, Rich, are you a cheese curd guy? Have you had him before? Do we got to bring you here to get you some? What's the deal?
That's true.
Come on. I spent 4 days there for the draft. How did I not have a cheese curd?
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
So
all good, man. And boy, the party must be on right now there, huh? I mean,
yeah.
What a move.
Fair to say.
What a move.
I'm just going to give you the floor, Rich. The reaction for you is what?
Stunned. I thought the Cowboys would absolutely at some point just say, let's talk. Or, something would happen where Micah would stay. I mean, listen, there's only one other pass rusher in the history of the NFL to have at least a dozen sacks in the first 4 years of his career. And that guy also went from the NFC East to Green Bay. That's Reggie White. So you don't take somebody like that, certainly someone you draft, and send them packing at age 26, 6 days before the season or 1 week before the season. It doesn't really compute. I know Jerry Jones just said at his press conference that they like Kenny Clark, and they should. I mean, they've been having massive problems in the middle of their defensive line for a long time. And I just didn't think that they would try to solve that problem by acquiring a Pro Bowler by sending Micah Parsons away for 2 ones that, at the end of the day, the Cowboys would be lucky if those first-round picks were in the late teens of a draft order. So, it's a head-scratcher. There's always, as we say on my show, and if my show that is going to be new in some way, shape, or form to the listenership that we're talking with right now, you'll hear it over and over again if you're going to be new to the Rich Eisen Show. But we always talk about in the NFL, there's an iceberg, and we just see the tip. This must have been one big fat iceberg beneath the surface in the Metroplex. There's always been rumors that there's been some gear grinding between Micah Parsons and people in the organization. His podcasting was definitely something that rankled, even though that is something that, again, is a 21st century, part and parcel aspect of having a star player with a personality and a desire to be out there. So I don't know what it was, but clearly the Cowboys lost trust with Micah Parsons, and whatever deal that Jerry had, handshake with him or not, was no longer on the table, and they were no longer comfortable going any higher. And so if that's the case, then I guess you pull the ripcord. You try to get as much as you can, and getting a player of Kenny Clark's ability back, I know, is is something that, the Cowboys could use, but at the expense of losing one of the best young pass rushers in the NFL, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, that is definitely going to be a head scratcher.
Rich, does it seem, you mentioned all the reasons why this could be the case, but does it seem like the Packers just didn't give up that much?
Well, I mean, Kenny Clark is a significant player, but it's not like the Packers the cupboard is bare. And it's 2 1s. I mean, it's 2 1s. Obviously, one of the biggest draft moments I've enjoyed, as a host of the draft on NFL Network since the mid-aughts, was this year's first-round draft choice cashed in by the Packers in front of the home folks with Mark Murphy.
Yeah, what a moment.
Talking about how, hey, for the first time in a long time, we're going to choose a wide receiver, and Matthew Golden definitely can have a big season for Green Bay. But, the future first-rounders that they're going to get, I would proffer to say Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur and the rest of the Packers front office would think that pick's going to be in the high 20s because this team's going to go deep. That this team's got some young players, and they've got a young quarterback who's really friggin' good. And Cowboys fans know how good Jordan Love can be because when Love went on that heater, he knocked the Cowboys out of the playoffs, definitively, I might add, as I'm sure everybody remembers. So, brilliant move for Green Bay. I mean, the 2 1s are significant. But if you're a team that's trying to be aggressive, win now, obviously I'm a Michigan man. I love Rashawn Gary. He and Micah are going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. They're going to be a problem. And the rest of their draft choices that they've made in the past few years, they're hitting this aspect of their defense significantly. And obviously, if Josh Jacobs can have another terrific season running it, and Love can stay healthy best he can with these young receivers who, if they can be healthy, I mean, there's a lot of ifs. Green Bay is a Super Bowl contender. I mean, certainly with Micah Parsons. Now, Packers fans will recall as well, Micah didn't do very much in that playoff game. And, you hear that a lot about it from Cowboys fans, that Micah has disappeared, if you will, in some spots. In the playoffs in particular, we're waiting to see him come up with that monster game, and I'm sure Green Bay would love to see it. Maybe a change of scenery, maybe a change of opportunity, maybe just a change of everything is going to potentially spark that flame. But obviously, if Micah Parsons is available, you want to pay him, and you can just give up, obviously 1 Pro Bowl player and 2 future firsts on the outset of a playing season. What a coup. I mean, what an absolute coup for Green Bay. Excellent play, excellent strategy, and I think there's a lot of teams in the NFL might be a little jealous. The fact that Dallas traded him within the conference and to Green Bay, who is going to Dallas in a month on a Sunday night. So I think the only other group of people more ecstatic than Packers fans right now are NBC Sports executives for Sunday Night Football.
The great Rich Eisen, the host of the Rich Eisen Show, coming to ESPN Radio beginning Tuesday. You can hear it right here on ESPN Milwaukee, 12 to 2 p.m. each and every weekday beginning on Tuesday. Rich, I believe pressure creates diamonds, so bear with me for a moment.
Nice. That's a Dak phrase, by the way. That's a Dak phrase.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm going to talk about the other quarterback because I believe after this trade, Jordan Love is probably the quarterback with the most pressure on him in 2025 to succeed. Is that a fair critique?
Again, the way I view it on my show, one of my guys on the show who hopefully, again, if you're new to the Rich Eisen Show, you'll become familiar with my guys, Chris Brockman and TJ Jefferson, who's a diehard Cowboy fan who's been trolled mercilessly by occasional Rich Eisen Show guest Carl Anthony Towns, who's a diehard Eagles fan, and he's already blowing up my phone on text with things that he wants me to show on tomorrow's show to TJ, and it's laugh out loud funny. But we talk about it, we argue about it all the time. Chris takes the point of view of what you just did, that a young quarterback who's been highly paid and needs to start showing some results that matches the contract that's been awarded to him brings pressure. To me, the pressured quarterbacks are people like Aaron Rodgers or Russ Wilson, where they're at a certain stage of their career that if they don't perform, they're not going to be in the league anymore or potentially not a starter anymore. That's the pressure, I think. That's the ultimate. Like your career is coming to an end. You only have a certain amount of time left to make an impression. Lamar Jackson, is he under pressure because his MVPs haven't brought the Ravens to the Super Bowl? I mean, he's going to still be the Ravens quarterback next year with an excellent opportunity to win it again. That's what I view as pressure. I don't know if Love, would feel it. Obviously, all quarterbacks are human beings, but honestly, like the Packers made the right move, right, by turning to Love, clearly, when they did. And I know that was yet another drama-filled, legendary first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback transition to first-round drafted quarterback who was waiting for his chance. I mean, that's a story literally as old as the last 3 decades in Wisconsin. But you just got to look at plays. You got to make the smart plays. Love is talented. He's extremely talented. You've got a terrific head coach who knows what to do with him. And you've got a mindset of let's run the crap out of the football and throw it to a bunch of young wide receivers that you don't know whose day it is, right? One day it's a Dobbs day. Another day it's a Wicks day. Another day it's a Reed day. Another day, if he's healthy, it's a Watson day. You just don't know, right? And if the offensive line holds up and now this defense can go sack the quarterback like this, making the back end of a defense better, these are all smart plays. And I just don't know what you mean by pressure, right? Like, I don't think LaFleur's getting fired. I don't think Love's getting cut, or they're going to start wondering if they made the wrong move. Last year, it's just unfortunate. Kid gets banged up in Brazil. That left a mark. And I just don't know how healthy he was the rest of the year. Just don't know. We don't know these things. So I think there's a bunch of other quarterbacks that have pressure, but it really depends on what your definition of pressure is.
Different than yours, I think, but I agree to disagree.
No, I know, and you have, but I'm not saying your definition is wrong. I totally understand where you're coming from. I mean, Dak's making $60 million a year. We're still waiting for the first Dallas Cowboy NFC Championship game appearance in 3 decades, and every Cowboy fan right now is thinking they're going to be waiting another year because Jerry just did this move for whatever his reasoning was, and we can go down the list. Justin Herbert's making a ton of money. Trevor Lawrence, Tua, these guys, have never won a playoff game, In Herbert's one playoff game, he was up by 27 points, right? And Trevor Lawrence did win that playoff game, so pardon me. But I think you're getting my drift here. Is that I understand, Purdy just got paid, right? Like, there's going to be tons of pressure on him, I understand. But if it doesn't happen this year, he's still got more years to go. That's just the way I view pressure. It might be wrong, but that's my opinion of it.
Rich, fans here in Wisconsin are already excited to have your show on our airwaves starting on September 2nd. So we're streaming live on YouTube, and we actually had a question come in for you, so I wanted to get to one of them. Sure. And it just says, Micah Parsons reportedly just recently sought a second opinion on his back. Anything to that? Asked Rich what he thinks. So I wanted to give you the floor. Any reason for reservation there?
None. 0.0. That was because he needed options to not show up and play and not have it cost him money or be fined. That was just game playing in terms of, okay, I was holding in, that didn't work. I demanded a trade, that didn't work. My back, that's the reason why I'm not practicing. And then the Cowboys this past weekend say, well, the MRI came back pretty clean. So his answer to that is, I need a second opinion. This is all just game playing of silliness to try and get something done. And at the end of the day, the Cowboys decided we're done. And that is, I think the Packers gain. Again, Kenny Clark's an excellent player, and the Cowboys, you really need him. But does that mean they needed to sacrifice Micah Parsons in order to shore up that position? I think the Cowboys will use that as a fig leaf. And maybe they deep down believe, Micah is the type of guy that might be an addition by subtraction because of whatever was going on behind the scenes. We just don't know, and that's going to be for Green Bay to deal with if that's something that needs to be dealt with at all. And again, for the Dallas point of view, just to mix sports up right now, as I'm sure I'm talking to a baseball-crazed audience for good reason.
Yep.
The San Francisco Giants were having a terrific year. The Red Sox were stinking on ice, and they traded away Rafael Devers, and everybody thought the Red Sox were insane, and the Giants were now the benefits of the largesse of a Red Sox team that didn't know what they were doing. Smash cut to today, and the fortunes have changed. You just never know. I'm not saying the Cowboys are definitely going to be better without Parsons. We just don't know what was going on behind the scenes. I proffer to say they will miss his pass rushing ability big time. You just don't have those types of players in the NFL and trade them away like they just did. And the Packers will truly enjoy watching him do his thing. And it was an excellent play, a smart move, one that really, again, 2 first-round picks, though, you'll miss them when you're smoking them if you got them in the next draft in Pittsburgh and the one after that. But it won't matter if there's a trophy in the case. And certainly if it's going to be like pick 28 through 32, you won't matter.
Quote of the year right there. It won't matter if there's a trophy in the case. That's what we're talking about here, Rich.
True that. Hey, and
Titletown. I know I'm talking to Titletown. I understand what I'm talking to right now.
Rich, before I let you go, I'm just going to give you my diagnosis. I'm not a doctor, not that you needed that clarification on his back. We've all tweaked it while sleeping, right? We've all slept weird. Yeah. When he took that nap, heard around the world on the training table on Saturday, that's probably why he needed a second opinion. Just tweaked his back a little bit.
It could have been that, right? Or he just was just bored, or just, again, he's 26 years old, The guy's 20. The guy, honestly, he's 26 years old. And he's never been through this, and I'm sure he was taking it personally, and I'm sure he was sick and tired of this whole thing. But again, the Packers are going to learn who they just hired and just paid a total boatload of money to. And again, I believe in your coach. I think he's terrific. And clearly the GM. What a move, right?
Unbelievable.
I know. Trust me, I'm friends with lots of Packers fans. I sit next to Steve Mariucci on NFL Game Day morning, and I'm very well familiar with what the cheesehead folks think of their team or the narratives. Sometimes you wanted Ted Thompson to show they had a pulse, right? Let's do something bold, do something un-Packers like, and man, they just did. But it was a smart play, a smart play. 2 firsts, and it doesn't cost you anything this year. You just swapped Kenny Clark for Micah Parsons.
That's a good way to look at it.
Basically what you just did for the 2025 season. Now you're going to roll him up and roll him right downhill against Jared Goff in a fat first game of the year, which you got to win.
Yeah.
You got to win that one.
Got it for the division.
Way to go. Again, with all due respect to Kenny Clark, you just traded him for Micah for the 2025 season, and the next ramification of the deal will be yours twice over when you're on the clock next April and the April after that. So I really think it's a smart play for the Green Bay Packers with a massive amount of upside, just a massive amount.
Micah Parsons, a Green Bay Packer, and Rich Eisen, a member of ESPN Milwaukee, beginning Tuesday, 12 to 2 p.m. You can hear him for the first time on Tuesday on The Rich Eisen Show. Rich, thanks so much for the time and taking some time on this busy night for you.
I look forward to it, and I want folks to call in. That's part of the reason why I do the show that I do every day. After being on ESPN for 7 years and NFL Network the last 22. The reason why I do my show every day for 3 hours is that phone line so I can actually talk to people and fans, and I do look forward to meeting this new listenership.
Thanks so much, Rich.
All right, guys, take it easy.
The great Rich Eisen coming to ESPN Milwaukee beginning Tuesday. Alex Strouf, Tony Cartagena with you here on ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube. The Micah Parsons is a Packer party.
I love the national perspective.
I do too.
Where
it always calms it down a little bit.
Not even that. I don't think Rich calmed it down at all. I think Rich came in here, and generally, if we're the ones celebrating, and we're like, this is going to be great, this is blah, 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 whatever, the big party, a national perspective can come in and be like, well, let's temper expectations. If Jason Wilde and Rich Eisen are like, y'all didn't pay too much, this is going to be great, Parsons is a future Hall of Famer, pop the bottle.
Pop the bottle.
That's just, I don't know why there's no reason to compare. There's no reason to be down. There's no reason to be like a little touchy on the money. This is great.
No, it's spelled out as plainly as it can be. The Packers are all in on a Super Bowl over the course of the next 3 years. This is not a move for 2029. This is not a move for 2030. This is not a move for 2031. This is a move for 25, 26, 27, maybe even 28 because Micah Parsons is under contract.
Won't even be 30 years old.
Yeah, correct.
He's
26 years old. That's why this move is so bonkers. I mean, there's so many levels, and I started the show with this at 6 o'clock, and if you're just joining us, thank you for being here. Thank you to Rich Eisen. Thank you to Rob Domofsky. Thank you to Jason Wilde. And thank you to you for hanging out with us, because obviously it's a crazy day. There's a million ways to take in and celebrate this awesome move for the Green Bay Packers, and you chose us, and I'm very grateful for that. I said this at 6 o'clock. There are so many levels of bonkers to what this move is. Right? The fact that he's 26 and was traded on August 28th is one part of it. The fact that the Cowboys let him walk after something that could have been fixed. I don't care who you are. $47 million a year will fix a lot of things. And the fact he was only offered $42 million a year, Micah Parsons knew his worth. David Mulgeta, his agent, also Jordan Love's agent, knew his worth, right? He knew he should be the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL.
He's over $1 billion worth of contracts.
Oh, Mulgeta, he's unbelievable.
He's Drew Rosenhaus. He's the best.
So there's so many levels of bonkers to this, and the fact that it wound up in Green Bay for paying less than I think all of us expected when the rumor mill started swirling just about 48 hours ago of 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. One part of what Rich said there several times that I don't think we've done enough of because we're so caught up in holy smokes, holy crap, Micah Parsons is a Packer, is Kenny Clark is still a good football player, and the Cowboys view him as that. But the Packers operate their business very different than the Cowboys do. Kenny Clark's expensive, but he's a good defensive tackle, and he's going to be 30 years old in October. He wasn't going to be a Packer in 2026. So Goody found a way to offload a rather expensive contract and trade 2 first-round picks with it, sure, for a guy that, Tony, as you just said, is likely a future Hall of Famer given the trajectory he's on. Got to do it for a lot more years.
He's got to do it. He's got to stay healthy. There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts, but none of that matters. And I think this was a text to you earlier, Strouf, when all this came out. Let's just say in a hypothetical world, it doesn't work. So what?
Yeah,
and I say that in all sincerity because this is the first time, really, the Packers have done this 3 times in the last 3 decades where they've gone out and they've either paid big at the time and whenever they brought in Reggie in the early 90s, they paid big, and that was like $17 million, but it was a big payday, right? They brought in Charles Woodson as a free agent. They traded up to get Clay. Like, the times that they do this, you swing for it, and if it works out, great. Now they have a hit rate of 1,000 there with those 3. But you don't want to be the team that's ever standing there at the end of a season, and it's, man, I really wish we had that pass rusher on 3rd down when we got beat on 3rd and 8 against the Eagles, right? You look back at so many times with Rodgers, and you're like, if only he had one more weapon on the outside and we would have scored 28 instead of 24 in that playoff game. There's so many instances where it's the what if. We no longer have that. We no longer can sit there and be like, man, I wish Goody would have stopped trying to draft and develop. Like, we have everything there is right in front of us. The talent is there. And now the young trio of Jordan Love, Matthew Golden, Micah Parsons, now it's not even trio, Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs. Like, now there are stars at multiple levels on the field, and I couldn't be happier. I am trying to get through some of our YouTube comments here, Strouf, as well, and John chimed in on YouTube, just said, great work, ESPN crew, which, whatever, thank you, John. I don't want to pat ourselves on the back, but he finished it off by saying, big day for us, thanks for giving us a place to hang out. That's amazing. That's why we do this every single day, right? Like, this is a place where Packer fans can come, hang out, talk nicely to each other, not rude, like Wes Cravens is doing on the YouTube stream right now, Wesley. But I look at this as just like, this is a community. This is in 10 days when we're all at a bar or a basement or a driveway watching Packers football or Lambeau Field together. Like, that's what this team does for everybody. And Micah Parsons is going to feel that, and it's going to be incredible. And this is just one of those days in Green Bay Packers history that, like, regardless of what happens in 6 months, this is one for the memory book. This is absolutely incredible. We should all be celebrating until game day, right? And then let's see what happens. Is he going to be ready? Who cares?
Yeah,
he'll be ready at some point.
He's defensive player of the year favorite. I don't care if
plus 600 at Powder Sportsbook.
I don't care if we rip the defense down to the studs. I think he makes that big of an impact. And
I would put Micah Parsons out there with 10 rookies, and I still think that they would be a top 10 defense in the NFL.
Well, let's not get carried away, but they'd be impactful. I mean, he'd still be impactful though. That's how good of a player he is, and how big of an addition he is to this Packers roster. So, yeah, we can't understate it enough or overstate it enough with Micah Parsons coming to this defense. They are going to be that good. The Packers are going to be viewed nationally as that good. And it's time to raise the expectations because I think as Packers fans, naturally we do this, right? We're a little wary right before the season begins. We're 10 days away from the season beginning. Mm-hmm. At this point, there's no reason to be wary. Every level of your team feels a whole lot better than it did 4 hours ago because you add an impact player of that magnitude on your defensive end in Micah Parsons. Your defense was already pretty good last year. Now you add a Defensive Player of the Year favorite, along with a guy who was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year in Xavier McKinney, a guy who was a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Week in Edrin Cooper,
as a rookie.
And a year 2 defensive coordinator who added a very good defensive scheme in year 1. So just naturally, guys that were around last year are going to progress. DeMarcus Covington, he was the defensive coordinator of the Patriots last year, was obviously fired after last year. Now he's
I'm
the
just saying from
coach.
What everyone is saying about him.
They rave about him.
The guys who play for him, specifically his position group, raving about him early on. And like, I'm not one to get into the X's and O's of what coaches can do specifically, but there was clearly a change in attitude from the DBs with Jeff Hafley versus the guy who was there prior to him. And now when you got a new defensive line coach that guys are already raving about, it puts you in a good spot where you just feel like this team finally did enough in the offseason to put themselves over the hump to legitimately be in the conversation as a Super Bowl contender. Not a surprise team who goes and beats Dallas, right? Everyone's like, oh, house money. That's the thing. Maybe that's the word I've been looking for all day today. No longer will this station will no longer be able to use the term house money. They're not playing with house money anymore.
Yeah, and I would say the one other thing that's thrown out, because I think that's a good point by you, the other thing that's thrown out for the Packers, and it has been thrown out, but I think especially it is now, is the youth movement BS. And I was sick of that already last year. I was especially sick of it this offseason, and I saw the headline again yesterday. The Packers are the youngest team in the NFL, and I would assume this trade only helps it, because you lost a 30-year-old. I
was going to say, are they anymore, but they got rid of Clark.
As of the final 53 on Tuesday, they were the youngest team in the league on average, and they actually got younger today. Which is bonkers to imagine. But here they are. So they're the youngest team in the league again. I do not want to hear that from anybody as an excuse in 2025.
Let's make a board. The things were no longer to use as excuses for why the Packers didn't make the playoffs.
So house money, youth movement, pass rush is no longer one.
Nope.
Because you have two guys you are paying premium dollar to rush the passer in Rashawn Gary and now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history in Micah Parsons.
I'm so excited for Rashawn Gary. I can't even say that enough.
No, I think that's something you should be the captain of that ship because it's something I haven't heard enough of in the last 3.5 hours. You're actually the first person I've heard say that.
It's just
and you're
facts, right? It's like if you bring in, let's go for a, I don't know, from a baseball perspective or a basketball perspective, you bring in a great shooter, you're really happy for the guys around him, right? For someone who is probably unfairly criticized for as high as he was drafted, who is very good but not great, and now he gets to play with great, he is going to look so much better lined up from single coverage, but also lined up from number 2s instead of number 1s with help. Like, this just puts him in so much of a better spot. It allows Lucas Van Ness to actually develop, maybe show some of the stuff that got him drafted in the top 15, right? Like, this just, to me, is complimentary football on that defensive line at its finest. You had good and prospect, and now you have great, very good, in a better position, and still a prospect.
Yeah. And that's, oh, God. I'm going to be irrational for the next 4 weeks until we get to Dallas. And then,
now you're going to be irrational?
Well, I've always been semi-irrational. I just think it's been elevated now because, look, I said the Packers need a lot of things to break their way to be a Super Bowl contender this year. I think they're in the conversation because they're a playoff team. I think they're in the mix for the NFC North. I always thought that. I've said that for months now. But today changes things, right? I think all of a sudden it goes from they should be contending with the Lions. Now I think they should probably be beating the Lions in the standings. Or at least in their matchups.
Right?
Yeah, it has to be the expectation.
We'll have to check in the morning when things get refreshed, odds for the division, all those kinds of things. It's probably coming in real time right now.
Yeah, they probably
by the morning, we'll probably have a better perspective. I want to give you a little bit of insight because it's just fun. So, as everyone probably doesn't know, but I host Analysis with Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, basketball-focused show, but a little bit different. We did a live show back in March. When we started our conversations for the live show, Micah Parsons was our number one guest because he had reached out. Micah Parsons has a podcast. Go subscribe. Rich Eisen mentioned it. Yeah, Parsons is about to get a lot of subscribers. He had reached out because he was coming to Milwaukee because he wanted to go to a Bucks game because he's a huge Giannis fan. So he had to reach out. We had great conversations as, hey, we're doing the live show here. Here's all this, blah, blah, blah. Back and forth. It didn't work out because what was Parsons doing? He was hosting a charity bowling event for children on that exact same day.
Oh, wow.
So it just didn't work out. But to know that he's already a fan of some of the stuff we do in our state, to have had those initial conversations with him, to be like, yeah, you're already awesome and you're great at football. Like the person that the Packers are getting is going to fit in so well with the Green Bay community, with the Milwaukee community, with the entire state, as well as playing great football. And we're definitely going to see him courtside at a Bucks game this year, and the crowd is going to lose their minds.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait. Micah Parsons, a Green Bay Packer. So just a quick look at Potawatomi Sportsbook here in Milwaukee. So there are 8 divisions in the NFL, obviously. 6 of them have definitive favorites. So if you bet on a division winner, it's minus money. So, for example, the AFC North's favorite is the Baltimore Ravens. They are minus 155. So you have to bet $155 to make 100. There are 2 divisions in the NFL where it's plus money all 4 teams.
Can I guess?
You can guess the 2, yeah.
Are they both NFC?
They are.
South and us?
It's actually not the South. Buccaneers are minus money in the South. It's the West and the North. And these are the odds. If you bet $100, you would make $175 back on the Detroit Lions if they win the division.
Okay.
Bet $100, make $180 back if the Packers win the division.
So
it's that close. It's a coin toss.
It's
and another quick note, the Packers were already favored in their Week 1 matchup against the Detroit Lions. They were minus 1.5 point favorites. According to ESPN Bet, they are 2.5 point favorites. Micah Parsons is a full point swing.
I don't know many defensive players that move a line.
Maybe even briefly, like half point.
A little bit.
A full point?
To move a line a full point
that's quarterback
before your
stuff.
Flight lands.
Yeah, that's quarterback stuff.
The line moves points as if Malik Willis is playing.
Right.
As if Jordan Love announces on Friday he's playing. Like, for a defensive player to move a line like that, now I'm not pretending to be a betting expert, but it's something we track and pay a lot of attention to. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Like, you got to love that.
It is. It is indeed. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. We will have plenty more coverage beginning at 7 a.m. tomorrow with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. So less than 12 hours. We are going to go watch the Badger football game and only think about Micah Parsons and maybe hope he could impact the Badgers.
Keep the conversation going. Keep it going on our Instagram page at ESPN Milwaukee. Keep it going on our Twitter page at ESPN Milwaukee. Have fun and just enjoy the camaraderie of being fans of a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
Oh, and by the way, Potawatomi Sportsbook, they are up from the 9th best odds to the 6th best odds, the 2nd best odds in the NFC behind only the Lions, and it's very close. So, yeah.
Over the defending Super Bowl champs.
Excuse me, the Eagles and the Lions.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I missed
you got me excited there for a second.
No, the Eagles are first, Lions are second, Packers are right behind them. Number 6, the other 3 teams, of course, are the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens.
I got to give a huge thank you to everyone who chimed in on our YouTube stream, all the comments. John, Levi, Wes, Tim, I see all these comments coming through. It is just people enjoying the evening. Mr. Fantasy, Colby, I want to get to everyone because I just think it's fun. It's community. Enjoy Micah Parsons being a Green Bay Packer. This is incredible for sports fans in the state of Wisconsin, for Packers fans worldwide. It's none of it, like Rich Eisen said a couple minutes ago with us, none of the picks, none of the what they gave up, none of it matters if there's a trophy in the trophy case.
Bingo. Bingo. All right. Thanks to Tony Cartagena. Thanks to Rich Eisen. Thanks to Rob Demovsky. Thanks to Jason Wilde. Thanks to Chris Larson for running the show tonight. This was a blast. This was a really fun, what became about 5.5 hours of radio for me tonight. I'm going to do 5 more tomorrow with you from noon until 5 here on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee.
We're local all day tomorrow, baby.
Local all day.
7, 8. Do you know what? I got word. Mark Tauscher is going to be on Unsportsmanlike for a segment tomorrow. 6:30 a.m., which means we're talking Packers on these airwaves.
It'll be the big story. Yeah.
Basically all day tomorrow. Tune in. Kick off your Friday the right way. Enjoy it.
We're celebrating. I'm going to go make it a pizza party now. The Micah Parsons is a Packer party. Ends right now on YouTube, but we're not stopping the party, and we're not stopping it. We're right back at it tomorrow morning, beginning at 7 a.m. Jen Game Show, but even before that, with Mark Tauscher and Unsportsmanlike, the Michelle Smallman, of course, a Packers fan.
Oh, yeah, Packers fan Michelle Smallman going to be on the airwaves.
Can't wait, man. Oh, my God. How much fun is this? Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.